So many more things to be updated in my resume, ma'am. I guess I can update it to you. There are many more publications and patents that I have achieved of late. Anyways, ma'am, you could please share the screen.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. Right. So today we are here to talk about leadership skills for teachers. Right. A teacher is a born leader. That is the first point. A teacher is a born leader. We could go to the next slide, ma'am. Now here I wanted to start my presentation with the first quote, that is, teaching is not a job, it's a lifestyle. It permeates your whole life. Why did I keep the slide here is because, we actually, though we are teachers, we are here in the institution only from 9 to 5. Okay, but after that also, when we get back home, we're still thinking about our students. As much as we think about our biological children, we still keep thinking about our students. It's just the lessons or help that we give to our students that compels us to teach, but what we learn from them as well. We not only teach them, we also learn from our students. Sometimes, when a student is a very slow learner, we think ways of how to cope him up, in which way we can bring him up, in which way we can make him understand the concept. Suppose a student is from a vernacular background. Okay, he's not understanding the medium of communication that we take up in the class. Suppose he's not understanding English, then we always keep thinking how to make this person understand, in which way I can simplify. So though we are there in the college only from 9 to 5, we all the time, even after coming back home, we do think about students. So in that way, it is not only a job, it's a lifestyle. We keep thinking about them throughout the day, and it permeates. It has an influence on our whole life. Okay, sometimes when we find that the student is very arrogant, he's not behaving properly with us in the class, after coming back home, we still think of how to correct the student, how to put him on track. So teaching is not a job, it is a lifestyle. We have inculcated it in ourselves. Next slide, ma'am. Okay, now here, first of all, what do you mean by teacher leader? A teacher leader is the one who practices teacher leadership. Okay, so teacher leaders are, they are teachers who have the knowledge, the expertise and qualities to take on greater responsibilities. All of us are teachers, but some of us we are proactive enough and we tend to become a teacher leader. So which kind of people, which material is within the teacher that they tend to become a teacher leader, wherein they have the appropriate knowledge, the expertise and qualities to take up greater responsibilities. They not only lead the students, but also the fellow staff members and community as well. They build relationships with students and support them through their most formative years. They have the power to shape their classrooms. We tailor make our own classrooms into places of growth and learning. In fact, we lead within and beyond the classroom. Whatever we teach the students, it has such an influence on the student that even after leaving the classroom, even when they are at home, they are influenced by the concepts or the values that we give them. So teacher leader is the one who influences the student as well as her colleagues with whom she is working, and sometimes the management also. So teacher leader is a forerunner, right? Next slide, ma'am. Now here coming to what are the types of teacher leaders. So we have two types of teacher leaders. One is known as a formal teacher leader and the other one is the informal teacher leader or leadership. Now here when it comes to formal teacher leader, these individuals, they apply for their positions. Okay, and they are chosen through a selection process. They receive training for this kind of responsibility. So they are selected by the management. Suppose we hold any HOD's post or dean's post or coordinator's post. So we are all selected by the management and we are given training, we're given certain guidelines of how to run the show. So these are all formal leadership teacher leaders who are elected by formal leadership. And then we have informal leadership. Here, informal leaders, they are self-made leaders actually. They emerge spontaneously or organically. They emerge, they are out of their own influence. Instead of being selected, they take the initiative to address a problem. They have no positional authority. So they are not given any designation or any portfolio as such. They are self-nominated leaders out of their influence. Their influence stems from the respect, that they command from their colleagues through their expertise and practice. We most of the time see that people who have good experience, though they are not given any position or any portfolio in the institution, they are very proactive. They come out and try to lead us. So these are informal leaders. So in every institution, we have some formal leaders who may not do the job well, and we have informal leaders who, execute their job very well. If you see in the slide, the formal leadership, it is made when a leader is elected. So the leader is elected by the management, whereas an informal leader is made when a leader steps up. He's proactive. Out of his own enthusiasm, he wants to deal the problem. And with formal leader, it is easy to communicate because there is a protocol in every college or every other institution. There is a protocol, there is a hierarchy. When you have a problem, you first approach the HOD, then you approach the dean of the concerned school, and then you approach the dean academics, and then you approach the vice principal, and then the principal. So there's a protocol. So when you're given a position, it becomes very easy for us to meet the official and convey or discuss our problem, whereas it's difficult to communicate in an informal leadership, because sometimes it can be mistaken as gossiping, because that is not an authority. Though they try to solve our problems, but that is not an authority, so it can be mistaken as gossiping. So it's difficult to communicate under informal leadership, and then it's less time consuming. Under formal leadership, it's less time consuming because you have got ready-made parameters. This kind of problem comes, then who's going to attend to it and how we're going to attend to it. So the flow is very easy because it goes by hierarchy, and you can directly approach the principal if needed to solve the issue. But when it comes to informal leadership, once again, the informal leader has to get back to the concerned authority and then only try to deal the problem. Though he may have several ideas, but that freedom is not given to execute. Even though there's a solution at place, there is no freedom in the hands of an informal leader to execute the problem. He or she once again have to get back to the authority so that it goes according. There is a discipline and decorum maintained in the institution. So it's time consuming for any problem to be solved by an informal leader or any initiative to be taken up by an informal leader. Then coming to the next one, who leads others in an organization by power is leading by formal leadership. Whereas a person who leads by influences, as we have discussed before, this power, formal leadership, is something that's been appointed by the management. So we have the power as well as the solution. Whereas when it comes to the informal leadership, they only have the solution and a lot of experience. But authority is not given to them because they are not being elected by the management. So these are the two types of leaderships existing in each and every institution, formal and informal leadership. So informal leadership is not bad, but it is very time consuming, and they have to execute the problem through formal heads only. Right? Next slide, ma'am. Okay. Now here, when it comes to dispositions of teacher leaders, now dispositions it is nothing but the qualities which are existing in the teacher leader. Most of the leaders, they are naturally born leaders, we say, and sometimes we also learn, sometimes we also adopt. Okay, so firstly, coming to, whenever I say a disposition, it is something that is existing within the teacher leader. 90% of the time it is existing, and it's only 10% of people who learn it from outside or who improvise it from outside. So dispositions, or you could say the traits of a teacher leader. Now, firstly, it comes to deep commitment to student learning. Now, this when I say, now for instance, in all the higher educational institutions, with the advent of National Education Policy 2020, we're all supposed to go for student-centric teaching model, outcome-based education. We're all hearing about outcome-based education model. So this is purely a student-centric learning pedagogy. So here, the teacher leaders have to think out of the box and devise creative solutions to the problems. They have to offer a diverse set of teaching pedagogies. You have n number. Long time back, we only had chalk and talk, teaching methodology. But now it is not like that. You have peer tutoring, you have flipped classroom, you have ICT enabled tutoring. So you have so many things. Here under outcome-based education, the student is very well aware of the outcome of what he's going to study. He's aware of the outcome, then only he gets into the subject. So it's purely a student-centric teaching pedagogy, wherein you have course outcomes, program educational outcomes, and then you also, the student also gets to learn more about the other graduate attributes apart from the content. I hope I'm clear with graduate attributes. So it is a holistic development of the student under OBE model. So as a teacher leader, we have to devise new models. Like one example that I've taken is outcome-based education. So that is deep commitment to student learning. How we can improvise the student learning content. Next, moving on to optimism and enthusiasm. So when I say, actually teacher leaders are the ones who set the tone of the classroom. Okay, a positive approach. The teacher herself has to be enthusiastic. She has to be active, proactive enough to bring in new changes. You still can't simply keep teaching by only the teacher can't sit and, keep professing whatever she knows. Nowadays, we also, because with the advent of technology and ChatGPT or Google, with so many advancements, the student also is aware of certain information. So it's always that, you give a space and chance for the student also to interact with you. For that, when will the student interact with you? When you're okay for everything. Okay for everything means you try to create an environment where the student feels that, yes, I have to take part in this interaction. Make the student feel comfortable so that the student feels willingly comes forward to take part and expresses his opinion. So the teacher also has to be very enthusiastic. You inspire the students to work together and create an environment, where everyone feels comfortable learning. It's not only the advanced learners keep talking and the weak students are busy in their own world. It's not like that. Create an environment where everyone comes forward. So this, this is a classroom handling technique. How you make all the 50 students or all the 60 students who are in your class all listen to you, irrespective of their academic talent. So that's classroom management technique. The next, moving on to open-mindedness and humility. So an open-minded and humble attitude, it allows for an intellectually responsible approach, to the conflicting beliefs of others. It could be our colleagues also sometimes. Sometimes our colleagues may not like what new methodology we have come out from. So sometimes, as a dean or as a HOD, we come up with a new format. Or we say, this is a new methodology, that new teaching pedagogy. I believe in peer tutoring, or I believed in flipped classroom. So sometimes our colleagues may not like it. So let's be open-minded. Let's be open-minded. Let's take up feedback from them. When we are open-minded, it gives us chance to take up feedback from them so that we can improvise on the methodology, what we do. See, normally in any institution or in a society, if given a position, we can't function alone. We have to go with the crowd. Okay, we have to accept the strong points of the crowd. And if you're not happy with the suggestions given by them, we can humbly tell them, might be this won't work in this scenario. We can try it for the next batch or next time. So be very open-minded and humble to accept so that you get some feedback. Rather than creating a conflicting solution, accept their viewpoints and see wherever necessary. If it has to be introduced, we can go for it. We don't have to be very egoistically like what as a leader in position, what I say, that only has to go on. It's never like that, and we can't function like that. Functioning in unison is very difficult. We have to go along with the crowd to get any concept to be successfully implemented. We have to work with the crowd. Okay, so for that, you have to be very open-minded and humble. Then courage and willingness to take risk. Now, for instance, very recently in our college this year, we have introduced, because still the Telangana government has not taken up, we have still not taken up national education policy. But we, as being an autonomous college, we have gone for 4-year UG integrated programs. So for 3 programs, we have around 40 programs running in the college, and just for 3 programs, we have taken up 4-year integrated program. And it is not completely on NEP. We have devised, as a Dean Academics, I have devised a template, keeping the NEP template in mind. And I know we're taking a risk because we don't know how the students. So it's like, if after 3 years, if the student wants to leave, he can leave, or if he feels he wants to continue in the 4th year, he can continue. So it's a trial and error basis that we have implemented this time. So the leader should always be willing to take risk. We don't have to bother about how the people will speak. What will be the consequences? We're trying our level best, keeping all options in mind. We're going ahead. And if it clicks, we're successful. If it doesn't click, we gain experience, and then we improvise over it. So the leader should always be willing to take risk. And then tolerance for ambiguity. It's a part of emotional, I can say, emotional context of the process and change that creates connection between leaders and followers. It allows the leader to deal with the ill-defined nature of the problems that have creative potential. It allows us to tolerate the range of options that should be considered. Always, whenever you come up with any task, there's always ambiguity. Any new thing, any new concept, let it be academic or non-academic, curricular or co-curricular, anything. If at all a teacher leader comes up with an option saying that we can do in this way this time we will change. Even if you change the venue also, suppose you have your national fest always having in one hall, and suppose you happen to say, under your leadership, you happen to say, no, that particular hall doesn't suffice for so many students. It is very congested, or it is not comfortable. We can move on to the other hall, another auditorium. There will be many people who will oppose it. Okay, it's not opposing it with some ill feeling, but there's always an ambiguity. There's always, people don't say yes at the very first moment. There's always a second talk. There's always a second option. Sometimes we get it from the students, sometimes with our old colleagues, sometimes from the management too. But we have to be tolerant to it. And when we come out with a statement at the first hand, we have to be confident, and we should have the necessary proofs for which we have made this decision. You have to be in a position to justify the decision that you have taken. So we always should have enough space for ambiguity. The next, coming to creativity and flexibility. We have to be creative in order to bring out innovation. This is an era of innovation, so we have to be definitely very creative in what we are doing. And of course, we have to be flexible at times, because it's a very important attribute for a teacher leader. We need to be able to adapt to every changing landscape of education. Okay, long time back, we only had exams, 3 hours of examination. We didn't have Viva Voce long time back. So then of late, we started with Viva Voce seminars. And now the latest thing is internship, entrepreneurship, innovation. Okay, open book exam. These are all so many creative modes of assessment. Long time back, it was only, summative assessments, but nowadays we are in for formative assessment. Each and every step we are supposed to assess our students. So this is an era of formative assessment, unlike summative assessment, which was done long time back. So we have to be creative in bringing out new methodologies, and flexible enough when someone suggests us for something, we have to be flexible enough to incorporate that and move ahead. And Next, coming to perseverance, this is a very, very important concept. This actually, all these qualities, whichever I'm telling now, not only as a teacher leader, as a human being, also these qualities play a very, very important role. Perseverance is, it's something, wherein you have to it's one of the critical ingredient for success. It's an ability to keep pushing forward even when we are facing difficulties or obstacles or setbacks, failures. It's normally whenever you take up any leadership position, it's not a bed of roses. A leadership post is never a bed of roses. You have critics all time, some good critics, some bad critics. So perseverance is a very important quality which a leader should always inbuild with her or him, so that we move ahead in spite of so many obstacles that we face, setbacks. Sometimes we have to keep moving forward. It comes out of practice. It's an art which we developed out of practice, and we require a lot of patience and determination also. You always need to have that self-assurance talk with you, saying that it's okay, I took up this decision. Because a leader is always a visionary. We think uh, ahead of others. So when people come up with certain setbacks or obstacles, we should be in a position to assure ourselves, saying that no, this was my vision, so I'm going in the right way. If I feel no, I'm not moving in the right path, it's definitely that I have to take up what my critics are saying and move forward. So perseverance is very, very important, in this world, especially if you're a leader. Then willingness to work hard. You have to be very passionate. A leader can't work only for those 7 or 8 hours in the institution. He has to work. He's always working. So you know that those thoughts are always in his mind. So you have to be very passionate and committed. So this will, in turn, help us in gaining acceptance and respect among students, staff, and management. The way we work, some only work for the position. Once you get the position, then they really don't bring in innovative changes or anything. There's no growth after they're taking up a position. But normally, a leader is a person who tries to bring in difference in people. And people see, might be in the beginning when we take up the leadership role, people may not accept us. But once when they see the way we work hard, the way we are committed, our passionate levels to get any event done, or any new policy to be accepted, so people notice us. So down the lane, they see our hard work and they change their minds and they start working with us, and sometimes support us, sometimes encourage us, give us new ideas. And this happens with everyone, with our students also, with our colleagues also, and our management also. Initially, might be the management and colleagues may not be in favor, though they have given us a position, they may not be in favor. They may say no for every of whatever concept we take it to them. They may say no in the initial days, but once when they see our hard work, they change their mind and they also help us. So this willingness to work hard is a very important ingredient in a teacher leader. Next slide, ma'am. Okay. Now coming to the see, there is a difference between disposition and characteristic. Disposition, as I told you before, it is something which is inbuilt. As certain diseases are predisposed on our genes. Okay, like that. Whatever dispositions I told you in my previous slide, all these things are existing with us. We just have to tap it. When you're given the position, you just tap it and it comes out. So those are already existing with us. And these are the characteristics of a teacher leader. You have to collaborate with administration and foster a collaborative learning culture, inform policy and practice. You have to, first of all, the one who is in the leadership position, have to prepare certain policies. You have to draft policies and you have to implement it. Whatever new practice that I want to follow, I just can't follow it randomly. I have to draft a policy by keeping all the points into consideration and then put it into practice. So first of all, in the academic council, it stems from your parent-teachers meeting, from the PTMs that we conduct to our students, from the alumni meet, which we conduct, and then comes the board of studies, then comes the academic council, then the governing body. All these are the various steps, various ladders where all this, the raw material begins from the parent-teachers meeting, and from there we start framing the policy. And once your policy is drafted, it is ratified in the academic council and governing body, and then you put into practice. So whatever new policies, new practices that we are following, that has to be ratified. The particular policy for that practice has to be ratified. And then you develop model of shared successful practices, connect with peers locally and globally, advocate for teacher students. So, here when I say we can help everyone by, these characteristics, in just, if I can say, you can help everyone learn, implement, refine, and share ideas. It could be with our alumni, it could be with our faculty who have left our college and gone into industry. Okay, so we can also all the time keep sharing ideas that improve learning for the students. And teacher leaders can serve as, they serve as the linchpins that move systems and structures to a culture of learning, that empowers the teachers to make the most impact. So all the time, I alone can't think and get all innovative ideas. I always have to interact with the community. I have to interact with my students who are passed out. So I have to interact with my ex-colleagues. I have to interact with faculty of other colleges. I have to sometimes sit and discuss with the management. And, depending upon the demand from the industry, I have to make innovative changes in my academic curriculum. So for all this, I have to collaborate and interact with people and then come to a conclusion. So it is a collaborative work. A teacher, in this slide, what I mean to say is that the teacher leader can't function alone. She or he has to be collaborative in nature. They have to talk to several people, connect with several people, and, interact with the students and teachers of other colleges, other institutions who are faring far better than their existing institution, and then come to a conclusion and implement the particular concept in the institution. Next slide, ma'am. Right. Now coming to the roles and responsibilities. So this is again very important, how now that I have made policies, I know what I have in the form of a disposition. And now I also have, inbuilt some characteristics of a teacher leader by interacting with people. So now I'm loaded. Now how am I going to execute it? Now I have all the things inbuilt in me. Now the time comes for execution, how I want the things to proceed further. So there are 3 areas of influence. So first thing is I can do within my department, and I can do across the higher education institution, that is within my college, within the department, within my college, and outside the college, for the community, nationally, locally, globally, wherever it is. So this is again a progressive scale. So firstly, when it comes to within the department. Now within the department, as I told, I create policy. Then only I can practice it. Okay, so first of all, creation of policies and then practicing it. And then, like for instance, within the department, I have to introduce any new paper, any new coursework. So I discuss with my colleagues. How about this? I discuss with the industry people and I come to a conclusion. And suppose I want to mentor the students. Okay, so I make a template, like what all points I'm going to mentor the student with. Is it only based on academics? Is it based on co-curricular activities, extracurricular activities, or their personal life? Because nowadays students are very, they are not coming to the college only to gain academic information from you. We are supposed to give them holistic information. So in that way, I'll just prepare a template on what areas am I going to mentor the student. For this, I have to sit with my department. I have to sit with my faculty, irrespective of experience, young faculty, experienced faculty. I have to sit with everyone and discuss so that they give me their viewpoint, and then I come out with something. So at that time, here execution becomes very easy. When I discuss what's in my mind with 10 people, execution becomes very easy. Otherwise, it comes like a monotony. I become, I like a autocratic ruler. If I don't discuss with anyone, I make my own decisions and I just inform it to my department, then there is very less chance of success. I can't execute. I'll have many setbacks and hindrances and, uh, backbiting and all such things. I'll give place to gossip. Instead of that, let me discuss within my department. If I want to introduce any mentoring program, I want to introduce any remedial program for the slow learners, or I want to introduce any program for the advanced learners, anything, let me discuss at the level of my department. Let me take all their viewpoints. So they all will feel involved. So there won't be any obstacles for me to move ahead. That is a good example. And now, for example, we have all the first years coming in. So we can also discuss about the anti-ragging policy, in which way, we can protect our newbies in the college, or also we can also discuss about drugs, anti-drug rally, or any such event. We discuss it at the department level, and then we proceed further. So if it is successful at the department level, I can next move on to the institutional level. That is, here across the higher educational institutions, that is within the college. Then I can initially, at a smaller level, I will do it with my department. If I find it is successful, then I will go ahead at college level. Now, for instance, I want to introduce innovative pedagogy. Okay, so when I want to introduce YouTube lectures, I want to introduce podcast teaching. Okay, rather than the normal teaching, I want peer tutoring, or I want podcasting as a means of teaching. Then at the institutional level, so what I have to do for it, I firstly have to plan it out. I have to plan it out. For this planning, I have to interact with many people. So here, basically, the role and responsibility here is interaction. I have my idea with me, but in order to make others feel involved and for an easy execution, I have to involve people with me. Might be their ideas may be beneficial or maybe toxic at times, but give them a chance to put their viewpoints so that I listen to them and they also feel heard, so that they don't stop me when I'm executing. I have an easy execution. So like that college wise. So first department wise I do it, then I plan it for college. I first do it only for my department. Then I can plan it for all the rest of the 39 departments that are there in the college. Because I will know already once when I have run the program successfully, it becomes very easy for me to carry forward for the rest of the 39 departments. And in the same way, beyond the higher education institution, I can share my idea. I can become a consultant for other colleges. I can say that this is the way that we worked in our college. Suppose some other college wants to implement my mentoring program, or they want to introduce my kind of remedial program, or my innovative pedagogy of podcasting. So I can tell them, I can become a consultant. Nowadays, NAC is also asking us for consultancy. So I can become a consultant, or my kind of assessment, the way we assess our students. There's several parameters how we assess our students here at Loyola Academy. So if some other college wants to know, I can become a consultant, for which once again, I'm earning some revenue for my college. I'm earning revenue for myself, also for my college. So in that way, I'm executing my role and responsibility beyond the higher education institution. I can execute it to some of the colleges within the state. I can execute it to the colleges outside the state, and sometimes if I'm doing too good, I can also have an MOU with a foreign college and execute my teaching pedagogy to the foreign college also. So it is stepwise. How? So whatever I have learned, now I'm executing. Roles and responsibilities is executing that. How? The main ingredient is by involving everyone, irrespective of who they are. When we are professional, we are least bothered about their personal viewpoints. We call them for a meeting, let them share their ideas. If we feel it is feasible, it can sync with our protocol, we take in their ideas. If it is not, we tell them very politely, humbly, saying that it may not suit here. In our next upcoming program, we can include this point. So like that, don't dishearten someone, but take their ideas. Make everyone feel involved and heard. Next slide, ma'am. Yeah. So these are the conditions that promote teacher leadership. So this is a self-explanatory slide here. Here you could see that first one is a vision and strategy for teacher leadership. So first of all, you should, as I told you, every leader, we are called a leader when we have a vision. So we have to have a goal, a stated goal, and a clear image of the task to be done. That should be in place. So that is solely dependent on the leader, how creatively, how innovatively we think. First, there should be a goal in mind, and end of the goal means once when I complete doing my process, end in mind should be there. How will it look? How will it appear? Okay, so you should have a stated goal, and you should also have end in mind. So once this task is done, what are the outcomes? How is it helping the student? How is it helping the institution? And how is it also helping the community where I'm living? So you should have a very clear vision and a strategy to carry forward. That is the first thing. The next, coming to a supportive administration, this is definitely the principals must be, willing to share the power. Though they have given us so many positions, we become deans, we become coordinators, we become vice principals, all these so many portfolios given to us. But the main tagline is the administrator, the management, they must be willing to share their power with teachers, and they must be supportive in sending us to certain FDPs or workshops where we improvise our skills, leadership skills. Though we have some predispositions, it's also good to refine our skills. So they have to be very cooperative enough. They have to spend some money to send us for certain FDPs and workshops where we improvise or fine tune our skills. Okay. Then next, coming to adequate resources. So we should have, in order to promote this teacher leadership, you should have good infrastructure. Good infrastructure means, I can't say IT. I simply can't, introduce ICT enabled learning pedagogy when I don't have computers. When I don't have sufficient computers, I simply can't go for ICT enabled teaching. When I don't have projectors in the classroom, every other class should have a projector. When I don't have good Wi-Fi, I can't go for it. So, and I have to have enough number of classrooms. I should have good strength of faculty, support staff. All these comes under resources. So these also play a very important role for a teacher leader to execute her duties. I have to have adequate resources. By just having a vision or ideas in my mind, I can't move forward. I also should have adequate resources to execute my plan. So the management should be very cooperative in helping me with adequate resources. When I say I have shortage of staff, they have to be willing enough to appoint new staff. I simply can't keep on increasing the programs every year. This year I have introduced machine learning. Next year I'm introducing artificial intelligence. But also the management should support us by appointing faculty who can teach such innovative papers, such updated papers. So they may appoint, but the crux is that you have to pay them huge. They can't pay the same salary which they pay for a basic skill. One who is teaching, a normal course, a normal basic course like environmental science. I can't give the same pay scale of environmental science to a person who is teaching machine learning or data analytics, because these people in the industry earn a lot. So you definitely have to match the standards in terms of payment when I need to say talk about adequate resources. Nowadays, everywhere we are having these electronic boards. We don't use white chalk anymore, and whiteboards are used to an extent, but we have electronic boards, just those touch boards. And then enabling work structure. Work structure means, um, work structure is that, you give us freedom to do research. You give us freedom to sit in the library and update our skills. Means you give us, there is a definite workload. An assistant professor has uh, 18 hours of workload. An associate professor has got 14 hours of workload. A dean has 12 hours of workload. So this is a work structure that is given. So, when you are giving a work structure like this to them, they have, based on the portfolios you are given, they can do some additional work, which will help the institution to grow. We can spend our time on research, or we can spend our time in guiding students, or we can spend our time in entrepreneurship being, and we have these innovation clubs in colleges, so we can spend our time there. That is one. Then strong collaboration. Strong collaboration is, as every other higher educational institution should have enough number of MOUs with state colleges, outside the state, national level and international level also, not only with institutions but also with industries, so that there is exchange of ideas, exchange of manpower, so that the output is good. We give a complete student, a student who is not only academically sound, but a student who is also good with work skill, who is also good with practical knowledge. So you should have good collaboration with industry as well as institutions, academia, industry collaborations. The next, coming to the blurred roles. Now this is very important, blurred roles, where I can say uh, the portfolio is given. Okay, suppose I'm a vice principal or a dean. I'm just using that position, but I'm not doing anything. What is expected out of my portfolio, I'm not doing justice for it. It's a blurred role. I'm just enjoying the power, enjoying the infrastructure given to me, an AC room or a rolling chair, or the a hype that I'm given all the time during any events. I'm just doing that, but I'm not doing what exactly I'm supposed to do. So that's a blurred role there. So that we see most of the times, but it will not. Might be a person can enjoy that blurred role for 6 months to a year, but after a year, everything comes out in black and white, and he or she has to sacrifice that role. So when the teacher leader is given a position or a portfolio, they have to do justice for it. They simply can't sit and warm that particular chair. And coming to inquiry and risk taking, we always have to keep ourselves updated with the other universities, with the latest happenings. Now that our UGC cell, every now and then we get to hear many updates. The website is also developed and it's very accessible. So we have to keep our academic patterns, non-academic also, in tune with the latest happenings from the Ministry of Education and UGC. And for this, you have to have good networking and some courage to take a risk and move ahead. Because we still keep waiting that our parent university, all of us, whether we are autonomous or affiliated colleges, we are all coming under a parent university, and we still keep waiting that only when the parent university is going to inculcate, we are going to go for it. It is not like that. Autonomy means 80% we can take our own decisions. So at that time, the teacher leader can take a risk. After a thorough research, she can take a risk and try to implement new concepts, which is good for her, which is good for the students, and which is very good for the institution in terms of ranking. Right? Next slide, ma'am. Yeah, this is very important. This is actually how to level up your leadership mindset. Most of the time, it's all days are not green. whoever is sitting in the leadership position, all days are not green. Sometimes, our own colleague make comment. Compliments are very less whenever you take up a leadership position. We happen to hear very few compliments. Most of the time, we only get to hear comments and critics, sometimes from our students. Students are also very vocal these days, sometimes from our colleagues, sometimes from the management also. So here what I would like to say, this particular thing is, how to level up, means how to always be in balance when we take up the leadership position is, you have to collaborate. As I told you, involve people, collaborate others and acknowledge their wins, and when you get to, when you receive an idea from someone, kindly acknowledge that so and so gave me a hint. I took her idea and I developed over her idea and came up to this concept. It's not like you take up idea from someone and you take the ownership. It shouldn't be like that. When you're taking up the idea from someone, kindly acknowledge them so that the person comes forward with many more ideas and you grow. At the end of the day, it is the leader only who grows, but kindly acknowledge so that the person also works and you feel happy. When you acknowledge someone, the person is also happy, and you consciously you're happy actually. So you have to collaborate and acknowledge the ones who have given you ideas. And you know when someone does something good, congratulate them always. Most of the time, because the teacher leader is on a higher pedestal, we sometimes feel that we don't have to congratulate because it's understood. I am the boss, so why should I congratulate? It's not like that. It's always good. Try to be humble as much as possible. Then it's a very easy walk for us. When we are humble and collaborative, it's very easy for us to execute the programs. Then create a standard for your work. Talk to it. Create a standard. When I say here, you have to be, now suppose I want a departmental report from all the 40 departments in my college. So each and every department will give you a report in a different way. Some may talk about their placements and achievements in the form of tables. Some may write it in the form of sentences. But that's not fair. When I want to, all these reports come to me, and at the end of the day, when I have to present it for any, committee which comes for inspection, I should maintain a uniformity. So why don't I prepare a format and give it to them so that all the 40 students, all the 40 departments give me in a uniform format? So you create a standard. You create a standard. So they also get to know, okay, I have to go to madam with a certain set of, she will not accept. See, suppose there is no proper sentence formation or there is no proper formatting, I will not accept the report. So they very well know, okay, if I have to go to her, then she will ask me. A 360-degree approach is required. So create a standard for yourself. When you become a teacher leader, create a standard. And this creation of standard not only comes in your documentation, it comes in the way you speak, in the way you present yourself, the way you, influence people and up-level them, how you encourage them to come forward. Then make decisions quickly and stand by them. Whenever someone comes with a problem to you, don't keep the problems piling on your table. Okay, we'll see tomorrow. Okay, meet me after 4 days, meet me after 10 days. Okay, we'll see today. I had no time. It's not like that. If it can be done then and there, kindly go ahead with it. The decision should not be abrupt. Think well and give a decision. And once you give a decision, then don't back off and stand with it. Suppose the management says this was a wrong decision, you just say, I know I felt it right at that time. And after a thorough study only, I've come up with this conclusion. You stand up for the decision that you make. Then own your mistakes and create solutions. This is a very, very important thing. We have to own our mistakes. When we are owning the credit given to us, why don't we own our mistake? We have, whatever mistakes we have done, we have to accept it so that we reduce the mistakes in the near future. Okay. And then coming to stay open to feedback and truly listen to it. Most of the times, when we are in the very few years, we take the feedbacks very easy. We accept it. But, once, suppose you're for the 5 years, you're a dean. So people give you a feedback. Sometimes it comes from a newbie, a fresher. A fresher says, madam, I feel that this is not the way you can improvise it. emails? Why do you expect us to give you a form, give you a document? Why don't we keep it in the Google Docs? And so that, we keep correcting from both the ends. We have to be open enough to accept. I can't say only my way is the right way. I have to say, okay, if this is the latest technology, I'm for it. I'm for it. Okay, we will keep it in the Google Doc, and then the correction can be done both the ways. So we have to be open to the feedback, irrespective of the number of years of experience that you have, and also be open to the feedback coming from the person with the least experience also. Then accept that you don't know everything and you ask help when you need it. That's true. I'm coming from a life science background. Okay. So I'm not tech savvy. So whenever my young staff comes and says, ma'am, I'm going to help you out with this, I'm saying, I'm okay. Now with this chat GPT, while preparing documentation, they've given me a link, ma'am, join this link. And here this person is going to, just by paying 200 rupees, he's going to train you how to work with chat GPT. Okay, be open to learn new things so that, you are on par with your newcomers. So we have to, it's not that we know everything. Most of the times we don't know. So we have to be open and accept that that feeling that we don't know, and I can learn from my juniors also. And then have empathy and express it often. Always we have to feel how the other person is feeling. So sometimes, when the management puts you on stress and you have to submit the document by it doesn't happen deliberately, but sometimes, we simply throw our mind on our juniors or sometimes our colleagues also. But we have to be empathetic, even though we're all not gods, so we do make mistakes at times. So when we do that, once the task is done, we can simply call them and tell, I'm sorry, I was stressed out. I'll not repeat it again. There's nothing wrong in speaking your heart to them. Okay, and you also should understand how they might have felt at that time. So be empathetic and be very open. This is just a position to make things easy. That's it. It's not the kingdom or that ruling which happened long time back ago. It's just a position. It's always a changeable position. For every 3 years, we are playing this musical chair. So it's always good to be friendly with our subordinates and colleagues by maintaining certain boundaries. That's it. Next one. A teacher affects eternity. He can never tell where his influence stops. Every day, right from the moment we enter into the institution, right from the security guard. Suppose you wish the security guard on daily basis, then he's also bothered and concerned about you. So he also, learns a feeling of wishing back or saying good morning to you. You teach him first. So right from the security guard till the student in our class, we are influencing everyone. A leader is a person who influences. Influencing is not forcing anyone. They happen to learn. They take us as their role models and they happen to learn what we are doing. They try to imitate what we are doing. All our good qualities, they try to imbibe. So a teacher affects eternity. All the time, everywhere, every place, not only in the college. Even suppose you're standing in the bus stop, even if you're in a restaurant, you go out to eat somewhere, even if you're in any place, a hospital, anywhere, a teacher is a person who keeps influencing people, because we have so many predispositions in us that it simply comes out. It reflects. How the sun reflects its rays, such qualities reflect out and we influence everyone. So it's not only for that we only influence our students, we influence everyone who we meet, including our children, our family members. Normally people say, okay, I guess if the student is very disciplined, we say, oh, I guess your mother is a teacher. So why is it like that? Because I'm not saying that other professions are not, other profession children are not disciplined. But what I mean to say is that teachers radiate influence all the time. So we affect eternity. That's it. Thank you.